Hi, second period. Okay, so Fig and Stubbs are in the house and the whole family is tied up. The grandfather clock, which had been opened but not overturned, rang 7 times. Bertrand exchanged a look with Molly to show that he too understood the importance of getting out of the house before nightfall. He turned back to the men, putting on a smile that might have passed for charm in another circumstance. My good sirs, I owe you both an apology. You've come all the way out here, and I've been incredibly rude. Take everything, furniture, clothes, the whole house. Only please, let us go. Stubbs stood over him, his belly protruding from his coat. You're awful eager to go right and out in the dusky fog. He drew a handkerchief from his vest, and Molly caught a glimpse of the large knife in his belt. You know, Fig, he said, polishing his monocle, I heard that some rich folks sew money right into their clothes to hide it from robbers and brigands and the like. Fig stood up, joining his stout companion. Now that you've mentioned it, I think I heard that too. Well then, Stubbs said, replacing his monocle, perhaps this merits a more thorough search. He drew the knife from his belt and handed it to Fig, as one might pass a brush to a painter. Fig took the knife, flipping it casually in his large hand. He paced the length of the room, pointing the blade at each person as he passed. Duck, 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 goose. He had stopped at Constance. The woman, who was only barely conscious, stared at the man towering over her. But Bertie? No. Master Windsor pulled against his binds. Not her. She's ill. Then she won't put up a fight, Fig said, kneeling. With a flourish, he removed the blanket from over her body and cut a slice along the side of her mattress. Feathers spilled onto the floor. Tell me when I'm getting warm, he said, and thrust a hand inside her mattress, searching for hidden valuables. Constance recoiled, closing her eyes. Bertrand thrashed like a madman. Get away from her, he screamed. Temper, temper! Stubbs swung a boot, hitting him square in the face. Bertrand's head snapped back, and when Molly saw his face again, there was blood coming from his nose. Please, he whimpered. Molly studied the expression of the two men, at once gleeful and grim. They looked like they would be more than happy to do this all night, and Molly did not have all night. She searched the floor for a bit of broken glass or a stray nail, anything that she might use to cut the rope. She again noticed the blade tucked into the back of Fig's belt. If she could just distract him, she might be able to get it. She closed her eyes and dug deep within her to find the part of herself that could, just possibly, save them. When she opened her eyes again, they shone with a spark of determination. Had enough? Stubbs asked, striking Bertrand again, 'cause I could go on all night. Hit 'em all you want, Molly called over the din. He ain't gonna tell you a thing. These rich folks would rather die than lose a penny to those beneath them. Silence fell over the room, and she felt every person look at her. You want to take this place? Stubbs said, turning. Molly raised a coy brow, as if to imply she might enjoy such attentions. You and me ain't like the Windsors, she said, a hint of song in her voice. I could tell it the first time we met. We wasn't born with silver spoons in our mouths. We gotta take what we can, however we can, and hang the rest. At this, Stubbs gave an involuntary nod. Molly fought back a smile. It was working. Take me with you, and I'll show you the money myself. How does that sound? Stubbs screwed up his mouth, clearly at war with his instincts. What would a little maid know about secret loot? Molly tilted her head back, a defiant smirk on her face. Servants know everything about a house, especially the secrets. This here's my 5th maid's job. I work long enough to get that lay of things, and then cut loose with all the cash I can carry. Now I'm thinking it's time I got myself some business partners. Maybe take up work cleaning a bank in the city. Molly, what are you doing? Kip hissed. Molly ignored him and continued. The Windsors never cared about me, and I don't care about them. She tried not to imagine the look on Penny's face as she had said this. The way I see it, you two are the comeuppance that they got coming. Stubbs grinned, as if the idea of being the arm of cosmic justice appealed to him. There's a little key in Master Windsor's waistcoat, she said. It unlocks the closet at the top of the stairs. Inside there's everything you could ever want. She held Stubbs' gaze in her own. Everything you deserve. She cast out this last word like a fishhook on the sea. Stubbs blinked at her, half hypnotized. The monocle had slipped from his eye and was dangling from a chain on his lapel. He swallowed and nodded to Fig. Might as well check his coat, eh? Fig left Constance and searched Bertrand. Looks like she was telling the truth, he said, pulling a key from his pocket. You'll come with us, pet. Stubbs grabbed Molly's arm, pulling her up on her feet. And if it turns out you're lying, it'll be cadavers we search for next. You cannot carry me? You gonna carry me? She said, indicating her bound ankles. Stubbs rolled his eyes and looked at Fig to cut her feet free. Molly felt a rush of circulation as the rope fell from her legs. She watched closely as Fig slid the knife back into his belt, only a few inches away from her hands. The two men led Molly up the staircase. She truly did not know what would be waiting for them inside the room, but she hoped it would be enough to distract them at least for a moment. When they reached the top of the stairs, Stubbs took the key and slid it into the lock. After you. She tipped her hat and swung the door wide. Molly took a breath and stepped into the room. Chapter 46 is called Trust. Kip watched his sister disappear behind the green door, the two thugs right behind her. The door swung shut with a violent slam. He didn't know why she was showing these men the tree room, but he could tell from her face that she had a plan. It was the same look she got when telling a story. Did she mean those things Penny said about not caring for us? My sister cares more than you will ever know. Kip smiled at her, trying to ignore the pain shooting up his left leg. When the men had tied him up, they had been especially rough on his leg. We just have to trust her. Master Windsor had managed to move next to his wife and was now holding her hand, whispering things in a calming tone. I hope you're right, he said, because the moment those two learn about that tree, what it does, there will be nothing to stop them from killing us all. Kip looked at the quickly darkening sky outside. Even if they don't, when the night gardener gets here, we'll all be done for. What do you think they're all doing up there? Alistair said, adjusting the weight. Why is it so quiet? Kip stared at the closed door. I don't know. Maybe the tree's not working because there's three of them inside. He was cut off by the sound of screams. Kip could not tell at first if they were screams of pain or joy. Then the door burst open and the fat one appeared at the top of the stairs, clutching little sheets of white paper. Promissory notes, he shouted, raining them down over the banister. Hundreds of them. He jabbed a finger at Master Windsor's direction. Broken deed, you old cad. He gave a whoop of joy and ran back into the room. What's promissory notes? Kip said. Alistair stared at the paper scattered across the floor. It's money. He peered at the nearest crumpled paper. A lot of money. I want to see. Penny scooted herself toward one of the fallen slips of paper. Don't touch it, either of you. The command came from Master Windsor. We're done taking things from the tree. Kip listened to the men whooping and laughing like children inside the room. Whatever his sister was planning, she had better do it fast. The two men appeared on the stairs, arms overflowing with more money. They were nearly skipping as they raced outside, a trail of notes in their wake. Kip watched through the open door as they stuffed the notes into the cart and then back into the foyer, breathless with exhilaration. The fat one grabbed an overturned trunk and emptied its contents on the floor. Last one upstairs is a rotten egg. They thundered up the staircase, pushing and shoving to get to the room first. Kip watched the tall one taking the stairs 3 at a time. A smile crept across his face. Molly, you little sneak. I don't see how this is funny, Master Windsor said. Then you weren't looking close enough. Kip nodded toward the room. His knife was missing. So Molly snuck the man's knife. We're going to stop there. Have a good day.